Ladies and gentlemen, my guest this week.
Joining me now on the line from Cork is Celtic Championship Wrestling star Billy Bedlum. Billy, thanks for joining us here on the Kickouts.
No problem at all. Thanks for having me.
More than welcome. So first, let's talk about how you started professional wrestling. What first influenced you to become a pro wrestler?
Well, I always was a lifelong fan, right? But there wasn't much of a scene, especially in Cork, I suppose, when I was growing up. Mm-hmm. I didn't really know about the scene until a couple of years ago. Celtic Championship Wrestling was about a year in. Obviously, I knew there was an Irish wrestling scene, being aware of Irish whip wrestling,
right, and
all that kind of stuff. But I just, it started to make a lot of noise, Celtic Championship Wrestling down in Cork, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was coming to the end of my, playing days in hurling.
Okay.
And I wanted something different, to keep fit. And I just walked in the door of CCW one day to the training academy. Was met by Lee Cullen, who's the owner. Was met by Ricky Combat, who's our head trainer. And I immediately felt like it was someplace that I was going to spend a long time, you know. So started training there and just fell in love with it.
That's pretty cool, man. So obviously, you know, you portray the character of Billy Bedlum, who is quite the extraordinary character, to say the least. So how would you describe the character of Billy Bedlum, both in and out of the ring?
Well, Billy is what they call, he's a little bit wired differently, right? Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say he's a special guy or anything like that, but he's definitely wired differently. I think he took a few too many disco biscuits back in Sir Henry's back in the late 90s, right? So his perception of what goes on in reality and in the ring and outside the ring is slightly different to what other people might think.
Okay.
He has a large appetite for fetishes, as you have seen, and has struck up quite a relationship with Raven Creed.
Mm-hmm.
Billy's on the up, and that's basically the way he is. He's a very aggressive guy in the ring, bit unorthodox. He wouldn't be exactly the most technically gifted of wrestlers, but I don't think that's his style anyway, you know.
Well, is there any particular wrestlers or people that have influenced any part of the Billy Bedlum character, past or present?
Well, I suppose I would have always loved a character in wrestling that wasn't just your ordinary standard, hello, my name is Dave and I'm a wrestler type of a guy, you know. So I always loved gimmicks, right? So when I was a kid, right, I think the first thing that really struck me was Papa Shango. Now, you might look at Papa Shango now and go, Jesus. But like when you're 8 or 9 years of age, you're like, wow, look at that.
Yeah.
You know, Mankind, when he first came into WWE, I was immediately attracted to that. Like, because I was, I'm a child of the late 80s, early 90s wrestling. That's when I was addicted to it, you know, as a kid.
Yeah.
So that's the type of character. So grew up in the Attitude Era. Absolutely love all that kind of side of wrestling. You know, then and I think that's reflective on the character and the kind of things that we're trying to do with him. You know,
I think that makes sense. So, of course, one of the unique parts about your character is William, your friend. I think is friend's the best way I can describe him. I don't want to call him the P words because I think that would be offensive. But
he's more a consigliere advisor type of scenario. You know. He's always looking out for me, and he tells me right from wrong, and he knows that people try to get to Billy, and people are all against Billy. Like, so he has Billy's best interest for heart.
So it's very similar. So it's very similar to, let's say, Al Snow and the Heads back in the late 90s, or something like that. Like, what do you think William has done for your for the character in particular? As you said, like, he says right and wrong, but what in particular as well?
You know what? I've never really, just on the Al Snow thing, I never really. That's definitely not. I never really took to him, you know, or that whole character type of thing. But he's an influence on me in a positive light, and I think he's going to be a very positive influence on Raven Creed as well, as he tells me what to do and tells me how to influence her as well, you know.
That's pretty cool.
Sorry. What did you say? What was the last question?
I was just saying, what's it done in particular for the Billy Bedlum character in William, like?
Well, I think he's it's different. I don't think anybody is doing anything like this right now in the Irish wrestling scene. you need to stand out from the crowd to be noticed.
Absolutely.
CCW has a great roster, right? It's very competitive. I'm not at it that long, and I needed to do something that was a little bit different. And I definitely think it's different, and he's helped me kind of separate myself from the crowd. I think, yeah, definitely.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
So of course you've wrestled the majority of your matches in Celtic Championship Wrestling down in Cork. What have your experiences been like wrestling for the promotion?
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure to be working for to be wrestling for the CCW and for Lee. I mean, we've another sold out show tomorrow night in Pain Spotting. No VIP tickets left. Pre-sales are better than they were for Ladder Wars, so we're expecting to be turning people away again. You know, it's a pity that the Kino is closing down for our adult version of the CCW brand, which is Riot. But it's a pleasure to wrestle for Lee and for CCW. I mean, the fans are great. It just gives you great exposure, you know. So, you know, hopefully maybe throughout the summer, you know, Billy Bedlum might be appearing closer to the capital and thereabouts. You know, you never know.
Who knows? Yeah, and obviously I was at your show last month for Ladder Wars. Like, it's an awesome alternative that CCW do for sure for the Irish wrestling scene.
But love it.
But how would you describe as well? Obviously CCW is doing so well in Cork, but how would you describe the state of the Irish pro wrestling scene in general?
It's a great time to it is a great time to be wrestling in Ireland. It is a great time to be wrestling in the UK and Ireland. But you see the OTT in Dublin, and it's blowing up. You know what I mean? And it's the same down here in Cork. The wrestling scene and the standard of wrestling is quite phenomenal. You know, and the people that we're attracting into this country to wrestle, it blows you away. Sometimes you nearly have to pinch yourself. But the quality of wrestling and the different aspects of it in the Irish wrestling scene is great to see right now. I mean, I know we're doing something slightly different than OTT or other companies in Ireland, and I think that's very important to be unique and to be, you know, if everything was the same in wrestling would be boring. Like, wrestling would be boxing. Do you know what I mean?
I see what you mean. Yeah.
If everything was mat wrestling on the ground, arm bars and all that kind of stuff, wrestling would be boring. And we're certainly not boring. I don't think the Irish wrestling scene is boring either, and it's good to have alternatives. And I think it's a great time to be a wrestler. You know?
Awesome way of looking at it. So, so obviously you've wrestled, as I said to you before, you've wrestled a lot of your matches in CCW. So I presume you've had a lot of experience with different wrestlers there. Who would be your favourite wrestlers to wrestle, and why?
I locked up with Ricky Combat once, and that was a big step up for me. You know, he got the better of me that night, but it was a pleasure to work with him, but and I hope I'll be able to lock up with him again soon. I've had a couple of series of matches with Omega, who's an extremely young, good talent in the CCW. He's going to go a lot further in CCW in the Irish wrestling scene and maybe even beyond. He's a phenomenal talent, and just to be able to hang with him and hold my own and actually pick up the pinfall the last time, brass knucks or not, doesn't matter. Got the W.
The win count.
That was quite cool, you know. But I've been involved in tag matches with Xavier Burns, Bingo Balance, and that kind of thing. They're all well-established names in the Irish wrestling scene. And for me, where I am at my stage of my career and stuff like that, and how old I am, the more people I work with, the more I can learn, and the more diverse array of talent that CCW bring in, and anyone I get to work with is an absolute blessing, and I love it. It's very important, and I'm having a great time working with Raven as well, and Lauren. You know, that's
the important thing. Once you enjoy it more than anything, and as you said, you've learned and you've embraced a lot of it of your career so far. So when you look back, what do you think have been the highlights of your wrestling career so far?
Yeah, well, I think the first time I won a hardcore battle royal in Riot before Christmas.
Okay.
That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. I have a lot of ambitions in wrestling, right, personally and all that kind of stuff professionally, and I'd love to do some hardcore stuff at some point, and to win that, I think that was really cool. Also to get a pinfall over the All-Star champ Omega was pretty cool. So they're thus far, but you know what? I'm far from done.
Of course.
I've I've a lot of ambition, and you never know when I do retire, what will be my highlights, you know.
Absolutely. Now, gone back to when you said, as a fan, you said you looked, you admired wrestlers like Papa Shanko and Mankind back when you were watching wrestling
as a kid. Yeah,
as a kid. So, as a fan and a wrestler, like back then and now, like what other wrestlers were your favorites growing up, and right now, obviously, like right at this moment in time?
Okay, I love Shawn Michaels. Loved them. And when I was now, my favorite wrestler to look back on is Ric Flair. I didn't like Ric Flair when I was growing up. I didn't see a lot of him. Didn't get much exposure to WCW growing up, if you know what I mean. And the Attitude Era and all that was cool, but I was only reading that on magazines. We're talking pre-internet here. If there was a bit of Nitro on Bravo on a Friday night, that was about the highlight of it, right? So I didn't get to see a lot of Flair, but man, when I look back on some of his matches, he's beautiful to watch. Like, and his promos and stuff like that, he was an absolute legend. Love Bray Wyatt, love his promo skills. He's different for me, and I don't want to go off on a tangent now, but watching WWE at the moment, the wrestling is fantastic, but there's very few standout personalities. Not even I'm probably going to get shot for saying this, but for me, Finn Balor doesn't really stand out from the crowd.
It's your opinion.
Fantastic wrestler and all that, but everybody's a fantastic wrestlers, and the athletes are brilliant and stuff. But for me, what levitates to me is the likes of Bray Wyatt, who's a fantastic worker, wrestler, but he has such a good gimmick as well.
Absolutely,
and the way he talks and everything, it's really, 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 he's the full package for me, you know.
Yeah, no, you make a good point. Like, you know, as good as Balor is, like, I see,
and I love him. Don't get me wrong.
No, I totally see your point. Like, you know, but like, and that's why you admire someone like Bray, like particularly for his character. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So
and from where he had to come, you know, when he was in NXT to where he is now, man, the door looked shut in his career. You know what I mean? I can't even remember his name when he was in NXT.
We did a profile in our show 2 weeks ago. Husky Harris when he was in.
Husky Harris, I was listening to the podcast that time. I was listening to that. Yeah, that's right. Husky Harris to where he is now is phenomenal. You know?
And ironically, it was Randy Orton who put him there. Think about that.
Yeah.
But as you said, like earlier on before, you said like you intend to continue your career as long as you possibly can. So, do you have any long-term or short-term goals that you'd still like to accomplish in your pro career?
No, not really. Like, obviously, you want to be recognised by your peers as being good, and having, you know, people want to work with you, right, on a personal level like that. Everyone wants the gold. You know what I mean? That's why we're here. But and from a working point of view, you want to be known locally, and you want to be known not so locally as well. Maybe, you know. I'm at a stage in my career where everything I get, I'm humble and I'm grateful to get it. But I think I'm always improving, and the more I'm working with people, you know, who knows what will happen down the line. Wrestling is a funny game. You never know what's around the corner. Yeah. But it's just an absolute pleasure of an industry to be working in, and I'm very lucky to be nearly 38 years of age and running wrestling. Like, so I'm very fit for my age, and I think I'll have I have 10 years, if not more, left.
Credit where it's due, man. For like an ageist way of saying it, if you like. But
I can say, listen, I proved last week down in Cork and Ryan. I'll prove it again tomorrow night.
There you go.
Omega, I'm 20 years younger than that guy, or older than that guy, and I tell you, I'll hang with him.
There you
problem.
Go.
Any day of the week and twice on Sunday.
There you go, man. Finally, I must ask you. Obviously, the character Billy Bedlum is one of the strangest, not only in CCW but probably in Irish independent wrestling in general. Like, who do you think though would be the strangest characters in pro wrestling in general, and why, past or present? And you mentioned Bray Wyatt obviously before, but would there be anyone else like that would stand out as a particularly strange character?
I think Mick Foley the Mankind was very good in the early days. Obviously he changed as the Attitude Era kind of changed. The gimmicks were kind of gone out the window, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I loved the way I loved the strangeness of it all. Mick Foley. I loved Goldust. It was bizarre. It was different. I mean, he really pushed out the boundaries when he came on board. You know, there's a lot of wrestlers out there. It's hard to spring to mind now, but they would be the top kind of two that would have gimmick wise they really, really liked. You know, everyone levitated towards Stone Cold and The Rock and Hogan and all them, but they were themselves dialed up 1,000,000%. But like Mick Foley, Mankind is not Mick Foley. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mick Foley is Mick Foley. Cactus Jack is Mick Foley, but Mankind was and his promo, some of his early promo work as well. They were long promos. They weren't 1 or 2 minute promos that you need to be on the edge of your to keep you on the edge of your seat. These were 5 or 10 minute promos at times. And Undertaker obviously is another one. I think the early days of Kane, the whole when they built him up as the Undertaker's brother. I still watch that. Go back and watch that on YouTube because that's the kind of stuff I love to watch.
Such a fascinating rivalry when you look back in it, especially the origins of how the whole thing happened.
Yeah, and unfortunately, wrestling don't tell stories like that anymore. It's brilliant, it's fantastic, and athletes, don't get me wrong, I love it, and the product is great and all that, but there's no stories. It's just throwing together stories before WrestleMania and stuff like that. There's no real feuds, year-long feuds like they used to be, and people kidnapping each other's wives and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Oh no, it's interesting in some degrees though, because there is a few storylines. Like certainly, I'm particularly excited to see how the whole Wyatt Orton thing will come out. Like so there's
but you have to have Bray Wyatt involved.
Oh, stop! Yeah.
Story like that, otherwise you're just not using him properly. You can't have him just turning up and going, "I'm wrestling. You're wrestling Luke Harper tonight. Okay, who am I wrestling tomorrow night? AJ Styles. Okay." He has to be involved in the storyline, or you're not going to use his character properly.
So it's almost wise to think that they're actually putting him in the title picture. So it makes sense in that point. So so you can catch Billy Bedlum alongside Raven Creed on a final encounter against Omega and Lauren LaRue tomorrow night on March 11th on the Kino vs CW Riot Pain Spot, and tickets are still available on eventbrite.ie. Billy, thanks so much for joining us for here in the Kick. It was a pleasure talking to you. All the best, yourself and Raven, tomorrow night, and we'll hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you very much, lads. We will see you again very soon. Keep watching CCW product, and you know what? You're more than welcome anytime in Cork. Just give us a shout, give us a heads up, and next time we're coming down, we'll have a couple of more Jaeger bombs. All right?
Absolutely. Look forward to it, man. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much.